She showed up at my door at 2:37 in the morning, barefoot, drenched from the rain, her mascara running down her cheeks. When I opened the door, she didn't say a word. She just looked at me and whispered, "I couldn't stay away anymore." That's the night everything I thought I'd bury came back to life. It was 2:37 a.m. when the doorbell rang. The kind of hour that doesn't forgive interruptions, when the city sleeps and everything feels heavier, quieter, lonelier. I was sitting on my couch, half awake, the soft glow of the television flickering across empty beer bottles. When I opened the door, she was standing there, drenched from the rain, trembling slightly, her hair plastered to her cheeks. For a second, I thought I was dreaming. For a second, I hoped I was. "Hi," she whispered. Just that, one word. Small, fragile, like it had been rehearsed 100 times and still came out broken. It had been almost 2 years since I last saw her. 2 years since she walked out of my apartment without saying goodbye, leaving behind her hoodie, her half-read book, and an echo of a perfume that lingered longer than her promises. I used to imagine this moment, her coming back, but every version in my head had words. This one didn't. Just silence and rain. I didn't know what to say. My throat felt tight, my heart confused between anger and relief. I just stepped aside, and she walked in like she never left. Her eyes scanned the apartment. Same couch, same cracked mug on the table, same old photos that I never had the courage to take down. She smiled faintly. "You didn't change anything." I wanted to tell her that I did, that I tried to change everything. The curtains, the coffee brand, even the way I folded my laundry, but somehow everything still led back to her. She took off her wet jacket and sat down. The silence between us was loud. I sat across from her, hands trembling slightly, trying to piece together how 2 years of missing someone could fit into one moment. "Why are you here?" I finally asked. My voice came out quieter than I expected. She looked at me, eyes glistening under the dim light. I didn't know where else to go. That was the thing about her. She always knew how to break me with honesty. Back then, when we were together, she had this way of making everything feel urgent and eternal. Every laugh, every fight, every kiss felt like it mattered more than anything else. But she also had this fear of staying too long. She once told me she was afraid of becoming someone's habit. I told her she already was mine. That was the night she cried in my arms and said she couldn't give me what I deserved. I didn't believe her. I thought love was enough. Now she was here again, sitting on my couch at 2:37 a.m., looking like the ghost of every what if I tried to bury. I got up, walked to the kitchen, poured her a glass of water. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. She took it gently, her fingers brushing against mine. That single touch felt like an electric confession. She smiled, barely, still nervous around me. "Still unpredictable," I said. She laughed quietly. "Some things don't change." For a moment, we just sat there, two people trapped between memory and reality. The sound of the rain filled the room, and the smell of wet earth mixed with a faint scent of her shampoo. It was all too familiar, too cruel. "I shouldn't have come," she whispered suddenly. I wanted to say, "Then why did you?" But I didn't, because I already knew. People like her don't come back because they want to stay. They come back because they have nowhere left to run. Instead, I asked, "Are you okay?" She looked at me, and in that moment, I saw everything she was trying to hide. Exhaustion, regret, maybe even guilt. "No," she said, "not really." And that's when I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I thought I would be. I thought I'd throw her words back at her, remind her of every night I spent waiting for her text, every apology that never came. But instead, all I felt was this quiet ache. The kind you don't fight anymore because you've learned to live with it. I leaned back against the couch. "Do you want to talk about it?" She shook her head. I don't even know what to say. So we didn't. We just sat there, the rain painting shadows across the floor. After a while, she stood up and wandered to the window, tracing her finger along the glass. You ever feel like life just skipped a beat? Like you blinked and suddenly you're somewhere you never meant to be? "All the time," I said. She nodded slowly, her reflection blurry in the rain-streaked window. "I messed up, didn't I?" I didn't answer. She turned around, tears forming. I left because I thought leaving would hurt less than watching us fall apart. But it didn't. It just made the silence louder. Something in me broke then, not out of anger, but out of recognition, because I knew exactly what she meant. Every night since she left, I'd replayed our last argument in my head, her saying, "I need space," and me asking, "For how long?" She never answered, just closed the door. Now she was standing there, soaked, trembling, saying everything I once begged to hear. But it was too late. "I'm sorry," she said finally, "for everything. For leaving without saying goodbye. For not being brave enough to stay. For not being ready to love you the way you loved me." I looked at her, the same girl who once made my world feel infinite, and all I could think was how much time we wasted trying to protect each other from the truth. I waited, I said quietly, for months. I waited because I thought maybe you'd change your mind. Her eyes softened. "I know. And now?" I asked, "Why now?" She took a deep breath. "Because I finally realized what I lost. And I guess I hoped maybe you hadn't moved on." There it was, the truth. Heavy, sharp, bittersweet. I looked around my apartment, the empty bottles, the cold light, the quiet mess of a life I'd been pretending to rebuild. "I tried to," I said, "but you don't really move on from someone who still lives in every version of the life you wanted." Her lip trembled. She took a step closer. Then, "Maybe we could try again." It should have felt like redemption, like the moment every sad song builds toward. But instead, it felt like standing on a bridge you know will collapse if you take one more step. "I don't think we can," I said. "We're not who we were." She nodded slowly, wiping her tears. "You're right. But I had to see you one last time, just to know you were okay." I wanted to lie, to say I was fine. But the truth was, I wasn't. I hadn't been fine since she left. But I also knew that her coming back wasn't a sign to start over. It was a reminder to finally let go. She picked up her jacket, the same one she wore the night she left. She looked at me one last time, really looked, and whispered, "Thank you for still opening the door." And then she was gone. The sound of the door clicking shut felt heavier than the first time. I stood there, staring at the empty space she left behind, half expecting her to knock again. But she didn't. The rain outside had slowed, leaving only the faint sound of water dripping from the eaves. I sat down, breathing in the ghost of her presence, the faint trace of her perfume, the warmth her body left in the air. It was strange how something could feel so real and already so gone. At 2:54 a.m., I found myself laughing quietly, not because it was funny, but because it was human, the way we crave closure even when we already know the ending. I walked over to the window, looked out at the street where she had disappeared into the rain. I thought about all the things I could have said, all the ways I could have tried to keep her. But then I realized maybe not every story needs to be rewritten. Maybe some are meant to end at the exact moment they should. She showed up at 2:37 a.m., and for 20 quiet minutes, the world stopped pretending it had moved on. When the clock hit 3 o'clock, I turned off the light, sat back down, and let the silence fill the room again. But this time, it didn't hurt as much. Because sometimes the people who break us are also the ones who teach us how to be whole again, just not with them. And as I finally closed my eyes, the rain began again, soft and distant, like her voice in another life, saying goodbye one last time.